Hi, and welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rick Grant. I'm the editorial director here at Weekly Real Estate News. We've got a great show for you today. Something that I didn't expect to be on my radar, but with the market the way it is and with the news we're seeing, this might really be one of the better webinars we bring to you this year. Now, if you've been watching us, if you've been watching the site very long, been reading what we send you, you know that we really only have one mission at Weekly Real Estate News. Everything we do is designed to make you more successful. And part of that depends on how much revenue you're bringing in. And some of the news you've been watching, and I don't have to tell you, you're under a little bit of pressure today to make sure that you can maintain the level of income that you've enjoyed in the past, but you can do it. And there's a bunch of ways. We're going to bring you all kinds of ideas throughout the year. At Weekly Real Estate News is what we do. But today, I'm going to bring you something a little bit different, something that wasn't on my radar. I didn't expect. Maybe it wasn't on yours. Today, I'm going to introduce you to Kevin Jones. He's the CEO and founder of Day Trade University. He's going to bring in his vice president, Sean West, to show us some things. He's going to talk to us about how real estate pros are pivoting in this slumping market. And he knows a bit about this because he is a real estate professional, and he has been for a long time. It's part of our expert series. We're going to talk with Kevin when we come back. Thanks for being here. Kevin Jones, founder and CEO of Day Trade University. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, first of all, I know you know about the real estate business. I know you've been involved in that a long time, but this seems like something totally different. So tell me the story. How did you get into this? How did you start that? Where did this come from?
Yeah, I mean, my beginnings in trading really come from my dad, who started teaching me to trade while I was still in high school. So I've been trading since I was 17 years old. I'm 40 now. We've been in business for about 15 years, and the real beginnings for us were a market that isn't necessarily similar to today, but it has a lot of the same challenges for people who are real estate professionals. And so in 2008, I'd been trading for about 7 years at the time. And I had this skill set of being able to trade. I had this set of tools that I was using that was working really well for me and some close friends and family that we'd been teaching over the years. But we had never expanded and given it to just any customer, any general person if we didn't know them. And then I think that from there, one of the things that really sparked it was the constant noise that was going on in 2007 and 2008 around my 401k has been cut in half. It's now a 201k. My traditional investments aren't working the way that they used to. Subprime mortgages then were really, they were finally kicking off to where people saw what was happening instead of just kind of the conspiracy theories at the time of what was happening with the market. We finally started to see that those challenges hit us. And so now that we're kind of in a similar market, not from subprime mortgages, of course, but just different challenges that we're facing right now, it's interesting to see some of the parallels. But 2008 was when we kicked off, and it was actually because of a lot of people struggling in the real estate market at the time.
Well, Kevin, there's nobody on this call today who wasn't in the real estate business at that time that doesn't remember what a difficult and challenging market that was. It was a historic crash. Everybody in real estate was worried. Now, that's where I started my business, and I'm glad I did. But I want to know, why would you pick a downturn like that to start a business in? That's kind of a gutsy move.
Yeah, I don't know that we necessarily picked it as much as it picked us, right? The thing for me was not necessarily that I wanted to start teaching people this skill. The thing for me was that I saw too many people that I knew and too many people that they knew that didn't have an alternative to really protect themselves economically. And that's where we started. We started from a desire to help people, to help change people's future economically and be able to give them a little more protection and peace of mind when it came to their finances. Not, and we'll probably talk about this, but not to change what you're currently doing. Like, I love real estate. I still do it. I don't ever tell people to not do it, because I think it's one of the most secure things when you can go long term with it. But we get stuck in some of these waves, these ebbs and flows of good markets and harder markets. And in those harder markets, it's really nice to have something to lean on.
All right, now I want to go back a little bit because Kevin, we've spoken before in the past, and so I know something about your background that many of our viewers may not know because you were doing multiple things in 2008, and before that, kind of just give us an overview of where you came from in your entrepreneurial journey, so our viewers can kind of get a sense of where you came from.
Yeah, sure. I mean, after college, I think entrepreneurially, I've worked for myself since I was 17. And I've had businesses since I was 12. My first business I started out of my parents' garage when I was 12. My dad was an entrepreneur and also a trader. And so he kind of showed me those ropes around that. And it was something that stuck for me. It didn't stick for all my siblings, but for some reason it did for me. After college, I opened cell phone stores in Utah, Nevada, and California. And this was actually leading up to 2007. So this was probably 2004 or five that I started into that industry. The really interesting thing is that I was able to graduate from college with no student debt, and the reason is that I traded all through college. I also traded the entire time that I had these cell phone stores. It's actually something that I mention to people when they're coming from a different industry, like you would be in real estate, and you're looking at this as a possibility. A lot of times people say, well, do I have to give up what I'm doing? And you absolutely don't. And then the question becomes, could I give up what I'm doing? And yes, you absolutely could if you chose to. You could pivot completely, or you can pivot a little bit into being able to trade in the markets. For me, what was really interesting, I had these stores and I would go and I would work them and I would travel and manage people. But anytime that I had downtime, I was able to just pop the computer open and jump on there and make some trades. And so I was able to keep cash flow going, even when I wasn't making it in my traditional business. And so that's really the way that we want to set this up for the people that are on this webinar and anybody who sees this, that understanding that this isn't necessarily me saying like, hey, shift markets completely, shift industries completely. I don't want you to do any of that. I want you to take a portion of your time and find out how you can protect yourself financially in a small portion of time while still doing the thing that you're a professional at.
I love that. And I can tell you that Weekly Real Estate News subscribers, and I've worked for a number of publications over my career, these guys are success oriented. These people are at the top of their game. They're the ones that are going to be most successful. They understand their markets, they understand the economies and all that stuff that's going on there. And in a minute, I want to ask you how you think that will help or hurt them as they get into this new area. But first, you launched in a historic downturn. And a lot of the experts that we're talking to now are telling all the editors here at Weekly Real Estate News, that we may be looking at something really similar over the next year to 18 months.
Yeah.
But in my previous conversation with you, you kind of compared and contrasted the two downturns, and I was really interested in that. Wondered if you'd share that.
Yeah, like I said, I think, obviously we had lending issues in the last one. Now we've got some other challenges. Because I'm in the real estate industry as well, I talk to a lot of people that I'm pretty well connected with. I have about 115 rental units, different doors out in the Wisconsin area and Midwest. I have some commercial properties in Utah. I have good friends that are currently seeing challenges with industrial land development and construction in Arizona. So I get to see a lot of different viewpoints on this. In speaking to one of my partners out in Wisconsin, we were talking, he's an agent, he's a broker, property management company. I think he does everything except title pretty much for himself. And, one of the things that he mentioned is that it's just harder to get deals done right now because lending has tightened up so much. So it's almost like the opposite of what we were seeing in 2008, where the mortgages got so challenging that people then they just cut off lending, right? And lending has started to it's not necessarily cut off, but it's getting tighter right now. Credit scores seem to be a little bit more of a challenge. Banks wanting to see deals but not willing to fund them is also seeming to really pop up a lot right now. Um, Also, when you're dealing with people who have fixed incomes, right? Like somebody makes 120 grand a year, and that's a great income, but they've got a fixed income, a certain amount of that income that they can pay toward a mortgage. And with interest rates going up like they are, it's really hard for somebody to be able to handle a larger mortgage because of a higher interest rate. So these are just some of the things that we're hearing as I go out and I talk to people. Um, it's been easy over the last couple of years to be what they call an order taker versus like somebody who actually has to get out and hustle. And so, like you said, I hope that the people on this are the people who are still making it work in the current situation. And I just want you guys to know that there's you can give yourself a little bit of cushion as well. Um, Trying to think of other things that are similar between those two. I think one thing that I heard recently from a friend who he actually owns a real estate fund, and they had purchased 190 properties from 2008 to 2022. So in 4 years, they had purchased 190 properties. So far in 2023, they've purchased a single property because they can't find the deals that they're looking for. And things just aren't set up the way that they liked as they did before. So there's just a lot of interesting challenges being faced right now, and I think a lot of those feel out of control. And that's one of the things that we love about trading is that you can actually give yourself a lot of control through trading, because you can make money in an up or a down market. And we're going to talk about that. And Sean's going to show you some examples of that. But I think that it's one of the biggest things that people don't understand. And it's actually like when we talk about how did we get into the business, the biggest thing I want people to understand is that when your traditional way of doing things aren't working because the market's trending the wrong direction, we can help you make money in a down market through the financial markets.
All right, I love it. And a lot of the things you said, our readers have been reading about. Phil Hull, our editor, has been doing a fantastic job of bringing those stories to our readers. And you're exactly right. That's what we're seeing in this downturn. And it isn't clear yet how long this is going to last or when we will begin to see an upturn. But what we can say is that everybody on this call and everybody we write to needs to have a steady source of revenue, and they're going to have to bump that up as we go forward. Now, real estate agents. So now I know you work with people in every industry. What excites you about working with real estate agents?
Well, you mentioned some of those a couple minutes ago, Rick, and that was you guys kind of understand the trends, right? You see the trends in front of you. You can pick up on certain things that are working and not working. Um, Compared to years that were really good, right? And I think that that's something that is really interesting. It's a way that our two industries kind of come together is we look at charts and we're dealing with markets that you guys are familiar with, but you don't realize you're familiar with. Okay. We deal a lot with currency pairs that have the dollar involved in them. Okay. We deal a lot with indices. So you're talking like your Dow Jones, your NASDAQ, your S&P 500. We deal with precious metals, gold and silver, platinum. We deal with commodities. So a lot of the things that you guys actually are already in and you could notice trends about because of your professionalism already is something that would allow you to kind of come into this with a little bit of a step ahead of just a traditional person. Now, the same thing works on the flip side where learning to read the charts that we're going to show you, it's going to help you start to see some of those trends for you in real estate as well. You'll be able to pick up on like different things that are connected where you're like, when this happens, then this usually happens in the real estate market. And you'll start to get little leading and lagging indicators for your industry on top of what you're doing with us.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to get into the specifics of this in a little bit. And here's something I probably should have mentioned, but the people that have been watching our expert series already know this is a conversation between these guys, these professionals, and you. We want them to answer your questions. So as you have a question, go ahead and put it into the system here. There's a place where you can comment, send us your questions. We'll get to as many as we can, as quickly as we can. We'll have a special time at the end for Q&A. But if something comes up as you start to see what we're talking about, don't be afraid to stick it in there. Now, you're going to be showing us some really cool stuff in a minute, some complex stuff, but I got to tell you, Kevin, I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the brightest light in the shed, so to speak. A lot of people may feel this way too. What makes you think that an average guy like me could succeed in something that we've been taught to believe is really complex and difficult?
Yeah, I think that's actually where our business kind of really started was my dad learning to trade. He actually went to a training to learn how to trade. This was probably in 1998. It was right when electronic e-mini futures were kicking off. The internet was finally good enough for people to be able to start trading through electronic means. Back then, you still had to really keep your broker on speed dial in case something went wrong with your connection. But today we have incredible tools compared to then, incredible connectivity compared to then, and it really just makes all the difference in the world. But the thing that really happened for him is he got a little tiny bit of education. He funded an account of his own with 2 days of education. And his first day, he lost $6,000 because he was trading the wrong product. He had the wrong symbol up for the product he was trying to trade. So that's not a good way to start that story, right? But what it did is a lot like a lot of challenges. It created what happened next. And that was he said to himself, well, I need two things. I need better education and I need better tools. And so he set out to create that. And that is where in 2000, he had spent the last 2 years working with developers, one of them actually a NASA guy, and getting the tools that you're about to see as good as they are. Okay. I started using them in 2001, like I told you. And I think that, when you talk about being smart enough or being able to learn something, it's really similar to any skill. If you have a couple of key points, it can make a skill a lot more easy to attain. So number one, you got to have good education. We are focused on incredible curriculum. Number two, you got to have a mentor. In my opinion, if I want to learn a new skill quickly and I want to do it the right way, and I would actually assume that you guys probably did this. Those of you that are great at real estate, you probably came in and had a mentor. You probably had someone to kind of show you the ropes and give you some great ideas of how to make it happen. We focus on that model as well. We give you a mentor right off the bat so that you can have somebody to show you exactly what you should be doing. So I think education is important. Having a mentor is important. And there's a couple other factors that we do. We put you into a community of traders. We don't leave you out on a desert island somewhere trying to figure this out on your own. And then the last thing is that, we're the type of company that cares so much about our quality of our education that we take it to the final step. And that final step is that when you complete one of our programs, we actually fund an account of our money for you to trade on our behalf, and you split a profit out of that, either between 50 and 80% toward you of the profits that you make. So we take you all the way from knowing nothing all the way to you trading our money. And it's something that really sets us apart. I would say that, having the ability to learn a new skill is always something that you can be afraid of. But when you know that you have somebody there to kind of give you a little hand holding and somebody to bring you along, it seems so much more simple than you would believe.
Well, a little hand holding is one thing, but you're actually talking about giving them live on the job training at your risk, not their risk. That's very interesting. All right, in a second, I'm going to turn you over, let you introduce Sean and show us what you're talking about. But my last question for you is tell us about the company that you've built since 2008.
Okay. It's been a really interesting road. As you can see here, this is our website. It's been a really interesting road as far as playing with the market as well, and technology shifts. And, obviously we went through a huge one in 2020. We used to spend all of our time in person with people. We would have big groups of people come to the office. We would have 100, 200, 300 people in the same room teaching them how to trade. And you'll see some of the videos on here that actually show some of those sessions. when COVID hit, that shifted everything, and so we shifted to a virtual environment for a lot of our coaching. We still do a lot of one-on-one where we fly people in and have them here in the office. So, but we went through phases where we worked in-house. We got it as far as we could with me, my business partner, and a couple of employees at the beginning. We saw that we needed to expand our business in a certain way. So we went out and we licensed the ability to sell our product. So that could be a conversation for another time. But for those of you guys who enjoy marketing and sales, that's another way that you could get involved with us. It's a really cool opportunity there. But so we created this opportunity for people to help us grow the business as well. And from there, we just expanded and grew and grew and grew. And we had, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had 7 or 8 years of double growth right there in a row. And it was really interesting to experience that and make sure that you kept up on the fulfillment side and made sure that you had a really quality product for people. Today, I think it's better than it's ever been. I was talking to someone who asked about the beginning of our company, and people were learning to trade from 3-ring binders. They didn't have mentors. Like, we were totally a different model then. And now I look at the way people are learning to trade in our company today, and I say to myself, they're so lucky to be learning to trade in this curriculum with a mentor, with all of the technological advances that exist, that if I could have learned to trade today, it would have been so much more simple.
I bet. Well, now I'm going to turn it over to you, Kevin, and let you show us exactly what you're talking about. Let you introduce Sean and bring him into the conversation. And then I
Perfect.
will be back for Q&A at the end. So please, let's make sure that this is valuable to you. Pose your questions, and we'll try to get them answered.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah. So I think we're going to introduce Sean here. Sean is a trader, and he's been with us for, I think, 8 or 9 years, maybe more, maybe 10 these days.
Going on 11.
Going on 11. Okay. And Sean, the reason I'm bringing him on to trade is I want you guys to know Sean. He's a big part of the company. He's somebody that you'll see in a lot of webinars. You'll see him involved in just about every aspect of the company. And he just has a really great way of teaching. He has a really great way of instructing and helping you see that path that is possible for you moving forward. So Sean's going to show you some of the tools that we use to trade with. He's going to show you maybe you can give him a quick glimpse of all the tools, but I think you're going to pick a couple today that are just kind of there for brand new people and for you guys to get a taste of it. And then one thing that's really cool is at the end of Sean's presentation, we're going to give you guys a code, and we're going to give you a place to go where you can actually try our product. You can play with it completely, as if you were like test driving a vehicle, right? But you're going to test drive our vehicle. You're going to test drive our tools for 30 days. And we're going to get you a code so you can do that for just $10. And we'll talk about that as soon as Sean shows you why you should do that.
Sweet. Well, thank you for having me on here, Kevin and Rick. Rick had made a comment, and I think I laugh sometimes because a lot of people I talk to make the same kind of comment, and that is that he's like, am I smart enough to do this? Well, kind of a backstory with me. I actually started out, like Kevin was saying, 11 years ago. And for me at the time, I was working at a grocery store. It was back in 2007, 2008. And we just kind of had a conversation around that as far as the economy and the crapshoot it was back in the day. And so for me, working at a grocery store as a manager, wanting better for my family, mainly because of the amount of time that I spent at the store, 60, 70 hours a week, I wanted something different. And so I started looking at trading. And the reason I did is because I graduated from college. And at that time, 2007, 2008, when I graduated, nobody was hiring. And I took a class in finance. And in that class, we actually hopped on and we were talking about stock market. And I kind of got hooked at that time. And so I started diving in and trying to find some tools that will help me to trade. And I came across these indicators with Kevin. And kind of the rest is history. So I always say that if a grocery store guy can do it, Rick, then pretty much anyone can do it. So And I'm going to show you that today as far as the ease and the simplicity behind how we can make it simple. And I think a lot of people in trading try to overcomplicate it, and it doesn't need to be that way. If you have the right tools and you have the right approach with it and specific rules around trading, then you can find the success that I know you can find in the market. And I'm going to give you some of those rules today that I follow and I teach on all of my webinars that I do. I'm only going to give you a couple today, though. And then as you get into what kind of Kevin alluded to, our trial, then I'll actually present and work with you guys on some webinars to be able to give you some additional rules that will help you even with some of these other trades that we're going to talk about on those webinars. So with that being said, let me kind of go through my screen and just have a conversation around what you're seeing on here right now. This is one of our indicators that we use. I stripped all the other ones because I wanted to keep it simple today. And then again, like I said, on our webinars, we'll actually use some other indicators that will help with your trading. So a couple things on here to note, and this is all we're going to trade on today. So over here on the right-hand side, I have this buy and sell button. We're going to be using that today. And then we have just some other information that talks about the market and everything that's going on over here on the market. And so I'm going to change a couple things here, if it'll let me here. Go. If it will do it. There, oh, that's okay. We'll just leave it there. And then, so we have over here on the left here, we have these candlesticks here. So these candlesticks, they represent a couple of things. And so if you're not familiar with trading, if you've never done it before, candlesticks simply, they represent a couple of things. One, time. And so every candle on my screen right here that you're seeing is in 5-minute increments. And so every candle is 5 minutes in time. Okay. And the important thing to note with a candle, it also represents how far the market moved in that given period of time. And so when a green candle starts here and moves all the way up, that's how far the market, or the price of the market, since we're looking at what we call the Euro US, which I'll get to in a minute, but that candle moved all the way up to that price, all the way to the top. And it even went further, and we call this the wick, hence the reason we call it a candle. Okay. So the price starts here on this candle at the opening of that 5-minute and then closes right here, but it traveled as far as that wick. And then you can see the next one here. You can see the green candle starts there. It pushes all the way up to that price, but then settles right here at the close of that 5-minute. And you can see that there's that small little body of that candle. Same thing with this red one. Red means that the market, went down as far as here and then closed at this point. And you can kind of see this other point up here where it goes up as well. So in a candle, you can have it, for example, this green one coming back to this big one. Initially, it went down and then it shot up to as far as that price. So for this red one, it initially went up and then ultimately shot down and then closed on that body. And you can kind of see that pattern all the way through. I don't use candles to trade. I use candles to just represent and to show me how far the market traveled in the time frame that I'm trading. And so since we're trading on a 5-minute chart, hence the reason we have a 5-minute candle in front of us. Okay. Now, some other things to note on here. We have this Euro US and it has a 5M next to it. That's a 5-minute candle or 5-minute chart. The Euro US, so what that represents, we trade primarily on the Forex market. So if you don't know or have never heard of that term, Forex, simply that's just the currency market. So for example, if I were to fly over to Europe right now and I take one of my dollars and I wanted to exchange it for a euro, then it would take me, for this example that is given right here, it would take me $1.02 for me to exchange my dollar to grab or to have a euro at that point. I can call it purchase, but you're just exchanging it. Okay. And so what we're trading, when we say the Euro US, what we're trading is that price fluctuation in the market. And you can see that there's a ton of fluctuation, right? At one point, it was all the way to $1.01. And so it it would take me a dollar and a penny for me to exchange that euro. But on the Forex market, we actually go a few digits, as you can see, even beyond that initial penny. And the reason for it is so that way we as traders can make money on those smaller digits. We call it like a 1/1000th of a penny that we can actually accumulate and profit on the market. How do we do that? Well, there's several different factors that we'll dive into later. A couple words like leverage. We're not going to dive into that today, but I wanted to get in and actually do some trades with you to show you how to profit on the market and how easy it can be if you keep it simple. And it's using indicators or software tools that will help you with profiting on the market and doing that effectively with the specific rules I'm going to cover. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cover these rules, and then I'm going to help you guys, and you're going to help me do some trades so that way we can profit on the market, and you guys can see that we can make money when the market's moving up and when the market is moving down. And a lot of people struggle with that last comment of, I can make money when the market drops. It's a concept that a lot of people can't wrap their head around. And the reason for it is because they're so used to traditional ways of investing as far as on the stock market. They go and buy a stock, you buy the stock, and you want the price of that stock to go up, right? And that's how you accumulate or make money on the market. Well, on this market, if I enter, and that's a key word, if I enter a position in a sell position and the market drops, I can accumulate money even when the market is going down. So as people are losing money in the 401k or their IRAs or whatever in the market, we as traders, as we take control of our retirement funds as a trader, we can actually make money on that downswing when other people are losing. And the way that works in the market, if you've heard the market in terms of a net zero market, essentially what that means is when somebody's losing $1, somebody's gaining $1. And so if the market's dropping and I'm in a sell position, you're losing, but I'm winning. And so there's that exchange that happens in the market. And so that's the reason why we trade every day on the market is because I can be either in a buy position or I can be in a sell position, and then I can close my positions for the day and not have any of my money at risk while I'm sleeping, which is so nice. The other thing that I love about trading and why I've done it for so long is because I kind of consider it recession proof, in the sense that, going back to my comment, when the market is taking and dropping, people are freaking out, they're losing money. Well, as traders, because we know how to trade that downswing in a recession or whatever's happening, I can still profit and not be concerned about my overall portfolio and overall success as far as income is concerned. So with that being said, let's dive into it, and let's do some trading here. So I'm going to change that over here. So a couple things, and if Rick, if you wanted to, you could hop on. I'll have you as my guinea pig, and I'll have you do some trades with me if you want. Oh, I think you're muted.
Yeah, so you want to lose money today, Sean? Is that what you're
No,
after?
I'm going to give you some rules that's going to be easy. If I can do it, I know you can do it. And so I want you to help me. And I think it would be really advantageous if we did that, where I'm going to teach you a couple rules. And then when you spot those rules, you and I are going to have a conversation around it. And we're going to put some trades in, if that's good with you.
All right.
Cool. All right. So on this red and green line here, so this is what we call our major line. And that's going to be important because there's going to be two rules that we're going to cover on that. So Rick, you got to pay attention. So first, this blue line here, we call that the overbought position. So when something's overbought, it simply means that there's a lot of buying going on in the market. And so what goes up in the market eventually has got to come back down, and it will. In this red portion here is what we wait for, and we call that the oversold position. Okay, so when there's oversold, just simply means when there's a lot of selling going on. Then oversold means that there's just a lot of selling going on, and so it goes down in the market, it's got to come back up, and you can kind of see that effect happen where it's overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold, and it's kind of like this roller coaster effect that happens and it does it all day long, especially on a 5-minute chart or lower. You'll see more of those ebbs and flows that happen in the market being overbought and oversold. And so there's that opportunity for you to get into a lot of these positions as far as whether it be short, meaning a sell trade, or buy a long trade. Okay. So what we're going to look for, Rick, is when it gets overbought, we're going to wait for these red and green lines to cross and point down, just like this one right here. You see how that crossed and it's heading down?
Yep.
We want to see that. That's going to be a sell trade. So when you see that, you and I are going to talk about it. We're going to assess and we're going to do a trade together. And then this right here, when it gets below red, we want them to cross and point up. And then that's going to be your signal to stop me. And we're going to take that trade. Okay.
All right.
So let's do it. So we're going to go forward here, just 5 minutes in an increment. And so when you see that red and green cross, because you can kind of see them starting to kind of tip, you can see that green wanting to come and consolidate with that red line there. And you see how they're coming together real tight? Okay.
Yeah.
They haven't crossed yet, right?
Right.
We're close. So at this point, as a trader, I'd be like itching, licking my chops. I'm going to make some money here in a second. So let's go forward.
There we go. There we go.
Sell trade, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to hit the sell button right there. Now we're going to go for a very small movement in the market. We're going to do what we call a 3 pip trade or a 30-point trade. So you can see that 3.0 or 30. What that represents is just the price fluctuation. So when it reaches a certain price, in this instance, our take profit, when we reach $2.5050, we're going to make money. Now, going back to my comment earlier, we hit the sell button, Rick. We're going to make money when the market drops, which is a great concept, right? Even when the market's dropping, I can still profit and earn money. So this right here, $2.58, that was an entry. That's
all right. Quick question for you, Sean.
Yep.
Is it important that we have this stock? Because I'm not sure I had that stock when you punched that sell button.
No. So going back to my comment earlier, right? So this is the Forex. So we're not actually, this isn't the stock market. This is the currency market or the Forex market. So
gotcha.
I actually don't own any of the Euro US at this point.
Okay. All right.
Going back to my previous comment where the way that we look at the Forex market, we use terms as positions. So for example, we're in a sell position right now. So we don't actually own any Euro US because there's really what we're trading is the currency market or the fluctuation in those markets.
Okay.
So Rick, I don't know if you can hear me, Rick, but the way that I like to describe this to people is that you're trading with a broker, right? So the broker is always going to take the offsetting position. So you can always go out in the market and find somebody who's ready to buy from you. And so you can sell them something you actually don't yet own if you believe the market is going to go that price in advance. So as long as you know that the market's going to go down, you can go to the broker and say, I'm willing to sell this, and he will provide it to you on a contract essentially, but you'll never take delivery of it. And then when the price goes to where it's supposed to, you can fulfill on that contract and make the difference.
Great. But your system does all that work for me, so I don't have to
push of a button. Push of a button. All you have to know is how to read the tools. Is it going up? Is it going down? Push the right button. Broker does everything in the background for you.
Okay.
So Rick, you entered in our price is where our entry is. This is where we enter our position, a sell position at 102.58. Okay.
Yep.
So we just need that price, or we just need our price to go down to that green line right there, which is our take profit. And that's going to get us or clear us out of that trade. And then you're going to profit. And I'll show you how much money you would make on that trade. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go forward and boom, you can see it cleared our trade. You can see that green line's gone. It's because we hit it right here on this red candle. And you can see on this example right here, our trade right there, you would have profited $150 on that trade.
Wait a second. We made $150 in 5 minutes.
It took about 15 for us to clear that trade.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So let's do another scenario now. We're now in that oversold position, right? So the market has come down and the indicators are getting down oversold. And so for me as a trader, I'm now looking for a position where I can get into a buy trade. Okay. And so I'm going to go forward. And you see how they're coming together, Rick?
Yep.
Okay. So you as a trader are going to be waiting for that cross.
Bingo.
Bingo, right? So
Yep.
now we're going to go ahead and this time we're going to get into a position where we're going to buy this time. Okay. So you can see our entry right there, the price that you entered at 101.72.8. Now, all I need to go, because of the trade that we need to go, we're going for a 3-pip trade. We just need the market to go up to 101.75. You see how we entered at 72?
Yep.
And then we add 3. That's our take profit. Hence the reason we're trying to get to that price of 75. Okay. So 72 plus 3 is 75.
Yeah.
All right. So then let's go forward and boom, within minutes there, another 150 bucks. That one was quicker this time.
That is great. Now, what's this stop loss there that you have next to take profit?
So
Yeah.
that stop, I have it. I was messing with it and I need to adjust it. But if I, as a normal trader, I'm going to do some money management, risk management in there. And then we will talk about that on our trading sessions as far as like making sure that you are covering yourself on every trade that you have a stop loss and a take profit. So for example, like we have a take profit. So you notice that when we hit our certain price, we were exiting and we were taking profit, right? Well, let's say that the trade went against you because that is trading. There's a possibility that you could lose on a trade. You're going to have a stop loss there so you don't blow your account, essentially. So you don't lose a bunch of money.
So you've got tools in there that can help us mitigate that risk.
Yeah,
Need.
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Great question. So let's go forward, Rick. So here we go. We're getting, we want to get overbought, right? And so you can see it raising.
Bingo.
Bingo. Let's sell that sucker. Let's do that one right there. And another, boom, you just won another 150 on that one. So you're up 3.
God. So without these tools, how would you do this? Is this, it seems impossible if you don't have
So
some kind of technology.
there's a lot of information out there about trading, and a lot of people will use strictly price action. There's 2 reasons that our tools are so important. Number 1 is timeliness to entering the trade, and then accuracy. Okay, so if you pull that screen back up, you'll look at where the trades were actually executed, and you'll look at where the signal came in, right? And one of the things that you'll notice is you get the signal on the first or second candle of a movement. And so what that does is it really gives you a huge safety spot to be in, meaning that you're one of the first ones to market, right? And you guys understand that. I want to be first to market, right? So when I get into a trade that is timely and accurate and I'm in there on the first candle, the likelihood of me being able to get out of that with profit goes through the roof. I get way more opportunity at that. Now, if you go out and you'll see other tools that are available out there, and they're always lagging behind what we have. Something that I did for years is I went to what was called money shows, and you guys can look these up. They're a place where traders meet, right? They're big conferences. They do them in Vegas and LA and New York and Chicago. Orlando. And the reason they do these is it's a place for people to go and show off their trading stuff. And I went to these for years, and I was always looking for who had tools similar to ours, who had something that was equal to us as far as timeliness and accuracy. And I never, ever saw it. And when you guys can learn those signals and actually learn to take them at the appropriate time, it's really, you'll be blown away at the simplicity that exists there.
That's fantastic. Now, Sean, I don't know how much more you want to show us, but I would love to know a little bit, Kevin, about how you developed these tools, where they came from. Who do you have that's giving you this kind of super cool technology?
Yeah, so this was my dad's baby for a couple of years. Okay. So he was a microbiologist by training, right? But he was also incredibly good with math. And so what he did is he noticed some patterns in the market. He noticed that if he looked at certain things and approached certain things from a specific way, that he could take an algorithm, like if we took an equation, an algorithm, and then we created a solution, and that solution created the variable for the next algorithm. They're called nested algorithms. You can actually go through and you can start to not necessarily 100% predict, but get way accurate on what the market should do in the future, particularly in the next coming minutes, right? Don't ask me to predict a month from now. Okay. I could probably do it somewhat with some longer term charts, but we don't do that. It's the reason we day trade. We focus on shorter term trading because we can look just a few minutes ahead with a higher level of scrutiny than you could if you didn't have the tools. So these nested algorithms, they go through, and the way we see them on the screen with these lines, it's really cool. It takes a lot of work to create that. And that's where developers came in. We had, like I said, one of the first guys to work on this had literally just recently left NASA as a developer, and he came and helped create these for us. He helped create them in the beginning, and then he also helped us get them ready to take to market in 2008 when we started putting them out to the masses, right? Same guy. And it took a lot of really complicated math, and it took a lot of really complicated development. And the really cool thing about it that I think really shows me how amazing they are is they've stood the test of time for me. These are the same signals that I started trading with in 2001. Obviously, they look a lot cleaner because resolution on screens is better, and the data feed coming from the brokers is better, and the internet connection is better. So everything looks really pretty now compared to then. But the math that is giving me the signals has stood the test of time. It's exactly the same as it was 20 years ago.
Wow, that's fantastic. So in a few minutes, I'm going to let you tell them about how to get this special deal and the other stuff you told me about. You're supporting charities, you're supporting nonprofits in this work too, which I think is really cool. But Sean, before we get there, I'm going to turn it back to you and remind the audience, if you're out there and you've got a question about any of this, pop it in the comments and we'll get to it. All right, Sean.
All right. Yeah. Let's just do one more trade, Rick, you and I.
Okay.
I want to make sure you get the concept down and everybody else too. Yeah, because we've taken a couple of trades, and so let's just pick off one more and see if we can get that to finish for us here on our trading session. You can see we're still pulling down, right?
Yeah, we're looking for a buy sign. We're not seeing it.
Coming together.
There we go.
There we go. Let's buy that one. Boom, another winner. So we have the session that we started with 150, 150, 150, 150. So $600. And this, if you were trading at this time, you're talking from basically 650 until about 8:30. So you're a couple hours, less than an hour and 45 minutes in a trading session to pull out $600. Now,
wow.
Yeah, that's a great way to start your day in the morning, right? And then you don't trade all day long. Like I think a lot of people think that guys like me and Kevin, that we literally just sit in front of our screen all day, 8 hours, just popping in trades in and out. And I don't recommend that, nor would I do that. And the reason for it is you don't need to. You could spend an hour, maybe 2 hours a day trading, and then going and doing whatever else you're doing throughout the day, real estate, whatever it is, networking, whatever suits that for you hobby wise. But I wanted to share that with you as far as, the simplicity behind trading, that it doesn't take all day long. It doesn't take a lot of skill. It doesn't take a lot of time for you to be able to profit in the market and really secure the money that you have right now. As far as that you've accumulated, you can secure that and grow it consistently and constantly on a daily basis.
I like it. Now, Sean, you said, go ahead.
Sorry, really quick. I'm just thinking through as a real estate professional, what would I be doing? I'm out showing a home. I'm out looking at a development property. between that, I have an hour to kill. I'm not close to my office, or I'm not close to my home. What do I do? Well, you'd be surprised how many people, they keep their laptop with them. They get a hotspot on their phone, and they can trade from anywhere that they can get that hotspot to connect well. Anywhere that you have a few bars on your phone, as long as you can hotspot to it, you can actually be trading these days. It's amazing, the technology that allows us to do that. A little MacBook Air or MacBook Pro, and a hotspot, and you can be trading from anywhere.
Holy cow! All right. So my question, Sean, is you've been having us do this. What did you call it? 3-pip trades?
3-pip. Yeah.
3-pip trades. So what if you went more than that? Is that a mistake, or?
No, no. Actually, there's some specific rules around that you would that I'm going to help you with on some of the webinars that we have. We don't just stick with a 3-pip trade. There's some things on the screen that actually will help you with going for what we would call like a larger movement. So, for example, like a larger movement would be like 20 pips, right, or 30. There's opportunities in the market that will present itself, and you just need to know, one, how to read it, and two, the rules behind it to be able to make those positions or those trades in the market to do that.
Okay. All right. Well, you kind of got me excited about this. So tell us now, what's it take for someone to get involved with this and learn more and actually start doing this?
Yeah. So you want to share that screen again that you had with the website for me?
Oh, absolutely.
Or you can do the one that the daytradeu.com /go.
Pull this up. All right, here we go.
Yeah, and then the one that I'll have you go to is the sign up link for our trial. That's
so that's the sign up link that you see in your bottom left hand corner. But if you click on Start Trading, it will take you to a generic version of that. The link in the bottom left hand corner obviously will let us know that you came from this webinar. That link will be good for as long as this webinar is available. We'll make sure that we know where you guys came from and that you get the special that we're offering today. There's a couple of really cool things about this. Is that number one, it's not just the special that we're offering, but if you look at the bottom of the screen there, the United Way, and then you'll see a couple banners when you guys go to that site, and you'll see all of the things that we're up to. You will be supporting a really great cause. You'll give some time and you'll give some effort to this to learn how to trade, and hopefully that's what it becomes for you, is like a secondary income, or potentially replace your income with it in the future. But just to try it for the $10, what you're going to do is we're going to donate that $10 to United Way and Sub for Santa right now. So that's what we're doing right now with our last quarter donation, and we'd love for you guys to be a part of that. Sean, anything you'd add walking them through that enrollment page?
Yep. So when you go to that page to sign up, like you had said, a couple of things. United Way right now, really United Way, they're going to be donating all of the proceeds that we generate as far as the donations. And when people sign up for that $10, so we're going to be sending it over to United Way, and they're going to send it over to their portion of Sub for Santa to help kids out in need during Christmas that's coming up here next month. Now, some of the things that you're going to get, and I like to highlight that with the $10, it's a no-brainer in my opinion. You can sign up for $10. You can see if this is something that's going to be a fit for you. And then you're going to actually get access to a guy like me that's going to help you out one-on-one during your 30 days. And then number two, you're going to hop on some other webinars with me where I do live trading. I do that on Tuesday and then Thursday. So I have a trading session tonight at 8 p.m. Mountain Time that I'll be hopping on a Zoom, and everybody that hops on is going to be able to see, one, me trade, and two, be able to take the trades that we're making at that time, and then also get the rules behind how to perform those trades and some question answers, because I have a ton of people that show up with tons of questions. I go through and have a conversation around that. So as far as getting signed up, really it's simple. Go to that website, get signed up. You're donating to a good cause, and then you're also getting in conjunction with that, or for that, you're getting a membership with us to start and see if trading is going to be a fit for you.
Great. Part of what I like about that, Sean, is that we've already kind of had a taste of how you trade, how you teach, and what you know, and it's great. So that's a real benefit I can see right away. Um, but there's some other things that you mentioned, Kevin, and I want to come back to this about actually taking the risk out of this for certain. How does all that work?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is we focus on making sure that before you put your money at risk in the market, that you have had experience with the product, and not just having experience with the product, but taking you, like I said, all the way across the finish line of funding you an account with our money. So, as you come into the trial and as you look at the possibility of what it would look like for you to become a trader, I want you guys to kind of look through that lens of saying, like, hey, if I do this, the cool thing for me that is really amazing is the opportunity to be able to trade other people's money and test it without the risk associated that other people would have in the market. You know, they're going to go into the market and they're going to have risk of their own funds. And right there, that's going to cause just one more hurdle or one more challenge that we can remove from our group, as far as somebody being comfortable risking money in the market. So there's that for sure. And then, you know, I always tell people this because for me, it's like, I want to add one more step to this no brainer of trying this out for the next 30 days. And that is, if you guys get into it 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, and you're just like, you know what, that wasn't worth my $10, Kevin, guess what? I'll just give it back to you. I always say, I'll give it back to you and I'll lose your information because I'm confident that our product's worth it for you guys. I'm confident that when you come and you trade with us, that you're going to trade our money and you're going to do well for us. And so it's something that we've taken pride in for years and years. I think we funded our first account for a customer in 2011 or 2012.
Wow.
And I want to make sure that people know that we put our money where our mouth is, so much so that I trust my curriculum, I trust my tools, I trust my coaches, and so much so that I'll give you my money to trade.
Absolutely. Well, you're talking to some of the most successful people in the real estate industry. They know what it means to invest in a tool to help them do a better job or to increase their revenue. And guys, you've convinced me today. This really looks like one. Now, everything you shown was about Forex. Are there other places you trade? Is there more? Try to give me an idea of the scope of what you can bring to somebody that wants to start doing this.
Yeah. So as far as other markets, of course, you can get into some other markets. You're familiar. Pretty much everybody's familiar with like crypto. We do have some cryptocurrency pairs that we can trade on, especially with the brokers and stuff that we have, as far as where we trade and where our money's at, as far as people trading it. That's one. And then number two, we have indices like NASDAQ, S&P 500, Dow Jones, all of those markets that you can actually tap into and be able to trade on as well, which in my opinion, I love trading those. I trade those in the morning. And then you do have metals that you can trade as well, and then oil as well. So there's several different markets that we're going to train and teach on. The key, though, is really diving in initially, learning some of these basic rules, and then we're going to take you and show you how to trade those other markets so that you can have success on those markets.
All right. I love it. Now we've got a question here. Mark is asking us to explain a little bit more about the profit splitting. I knew people would love this because it's a great opportunity to transfer risk from them to you. But what else can you tell us about how that works?
I can talk about that. One of the things is that I feel like we've been a little bit knocked off or copied over the years. And, free market, it's great. I don't mind it. But one thing that I take pride in is the quality at which we do it. A lot of places out there will say they'll fund you an account, but what they're going to do is they're going to set you up with a prop firm. And a prop firm is a place that's going to put you through a test to see if you're going to qualify to be able to trade their funds. We are not that, even though we have the name, we are a proprietary fund, meaning it's our money. So we don't take private investment. It's our funds that we are giving you to trade. And so the really cool thing about that is that anybody who graduates from one of our learning programs, they are absolutely going to get funded. Like, we don't love to use the word guarantee just because that's a challenge in the trading world. But something that I can guarantee you is that if you graduate from one of these programs that you'll get a funded account at the end to trade with. And then it depends on what level of the program that you go through, but we split between 50 and 80% of the proceeds of that account. So they call it a high water mark. If the account is funded at $10,000 and you turn it into $12,000, then we would split the $2,000 that you'd made. Okay. And in that case, you would get between 50 and 80% of that, and it is split at the end of every calendar month.
Very nice. And how long do those programs typically go? How long do you let them use those funds?
As long as they want. As long as they're a subscriber, we're working together. As long as you're in the program, you can keep that funded account. And we've had people with funded accounts for years and years.
Holy crap. All right. We are bumping up on time, and we have to be respectful of our subscribers' time. But gentlemen, this is fantastic. Now, if you're watching this on replay, this offer is still good for you. What you're seeing on your screen right now will get you into the program and get you learning how to do this. Sean West, Kevin Jones, I want to thank you both for doing this. You're helping us add value to our subscribers, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. For the rest of you, stay tuned. We're going to have more in this expert webinar series, and I'll see you next time.